When we know this raster and vector, uh, and we talked about the image part of it. So whenever we take images from our mobile phones or any digital camera, we only know the visible spectrum of light. So red, green, and blue. These are the main colors and fundamental colors on which other colors or other visible ranges are always different. And we get to see a person is wearing orange t-shirt or a black pant or something like that. When we talk about multispectral satellite imagery, the scenario changes. Multispectral in the sense we have electromagnetic spectrum beyond the visible light, so that whatever human naked eye cannot see, the particular sensor can sense it and gather the information about it. So the bigger picture you can see here is a true color composite. It consists of our normal imagery like red, green, and blue. When you go on the right side, and when we are using a multispectral satellite image, I am using here false color composite, wherein which I am using NIR, near infrared band, red band, and green band. When we use NIR and red band, those particular bands are sensitive to some of the objects on the earth. In this particular picture, as you can see, the red part to which the particular earth feature, that is vegetation, the sensor is sensitive to that particular reflectances, and that gives good information than the left hand side, so that we can quantify uh, how are these particular vegetation indices, what is the area of it, what is the healthiness of it, how it is being covering overall region, like how much percent of the entire particular image is being covered by vegetation. All of these things can be calculated in accurate manner. So for all of this, what are the commonly used platforms? So these particular platforms, as you can see on the left hand side, those are comprising of enterprise softwares as well as open source software. So you can go and search for all of these, and the majority community, open source community uses QGIS, GRASS, Esri. Some of them are not mentioned here. Google Earth is one of the important evolving factor. Uh, After this, when we talk about these particular platforms, what they generally do, so they help in visualizing, questioning, and analyzing the geographic data. So whatever data that we have gathered through these platforms, we can visualize that. We can edit those data sets. When I talked about point line and polygon, now I want to set up a new shop and I want to point it out. So I can edit that. Like there is a new shop happening here. I should put it as a point and give the name, give the attributes to that. This platform comes with processing capabilities for processing the geospatial data sets. For example, addition, multiplication of different satellite bands, as I showed you, like NIR, red and green band, or the red, green, and blue bands. So we can add, multiply, since these are the data sets like raster and vector can be manipulated on the way on these platforms. And as I showed you in the vector data set, the overlay, so we can see multiple things in a simple overlay of this. Uh, these are the commonly used database systems. So when we talk about GIS and a particular city, this data set is always huge. And when we talk about the higher resolution satellite imageries, uh, those come up with large storage, large storage capacity. And if we want to query those data sets, we need to have certain systems which can do it, in easier manner, and that should have capabilities to cope up with points, lines, and polygons. Generally, the database systems earlier were for attribute related data that does not have spatial component in there. So by spatial word, what I mean is it does not have location information. That might be a polygon geometry, line geometry, or the point geometry. So these are the common database platforms such as PostGIS, Oracle Spatial, Neo4j Spatial, and MongoDB. Again, these are some of the enterprise as well as open source available. So this includes the ease of working with spatial big data sets. This helps to query the data faster and in whatever manner that we want. For example, I want to see how many hospitals are there in this particular ward or particular county. So easily I can query that data and I will get to see if there are three hospital in this particular county and how many hospitals are at which distances from each other. These kind of queries can be answered through these particular database systems. Now coming towards Python geospatial libraries. So when we talk about data science and especially geospatial data science, Python is the uh, dominant language, I can say. Uh, Before that, R was widely used in research and statistical purposes. But since R is not a functional language, on Python we can produce different kind of products which can be visualized through various web maps and everything. So these particular libraries, like including Rasterio, GeoPandas, PySal, has their own functionalities, and some of these particular libraries are built on top of each other. For example, when we talk about Rasterio library, which is built on Jira, Jira is geospatial data abstraction library. These particular libraries have different functionality. Some libraries can be used as vector data operations, as we all have seen through vector and raster. The GeoPandas library gives information about vector datasets that Soumya will cover later. PySal is a spatial analytics library. So just in data science, what we do is uh, exploratory spatial data analytics. So in in that particular data science domain with respect to attribute datasets, we do exploratory data analytics. But here, since the spatial component is lying there, we do spatial exploratory analysis with the help of PySal dataset or PySal library. Shapely library is generally used to create the geometries. If we want to, on the fly create one particular geometry through programming languages, we can create polygon lines and points through that. When we talk about geospatial dataset, projection system is one of the important systems. And Earth is, when we are using different projection systems, probably universally used is EPSG 4326 datasets, and different in the local level we use UTM datasets to convert it into metric system. So this particular library, PyProject, will give information about coordinate system that can be replaced or substituted for one or the another. So, for example, if my particular city right now is in 4326 projection system, I want to convert it into metric system. So I will use UTM coordinate for that particular city, and I can convert it to particular format by using a PyProject. GeoPandas also have some of the same capabilities. After this, like Folium library, it gives data wrangling and strengths of Python ecosystem and the mapping strengths of Leaflet.js. Leaflet.js is used for visualization of geospatial datasets for web mapping and other capabilities. So in the Python itself, we can visualize the whatever queried data that we have or whatever the data that we want to visualize on the top of base maps, we can visualize using Folium. So there are n number of different libraries being used, but these are some of the prominent ones and regularly used ones. So when we talk about zonal statistics in geospatial datasets, these concepts might be new for a programmer who is getting into geospatial analysis, but might not be new for the geospatial analyst who want to get into geospatial data science and increase the capabilities of Python. So when we talk about zonal statistics, we have library called rasterstats, which gives information about at zone level. So for example, when we have a particular city and we want to know what is the temperature at each ward level, then it combines all the pixels in that particular ward and gives one value to us. That is zonal statistics, and that can be achieved through raster stats.